Welcome to Full Measure. I'm Sharyl Attkisson. It's down to the wire. We'll soon know who American voters are choosing as our next president, the first woman to hold the office or a wealthy businessman with no political experience. You can't say the journey has been boring. Revelations continue to leak out about several active FBI investigations linked to the Clintons, including Hillary's email practices and the Clinton Foundation. That's led to allegations of conflicts and obstruction coming from within the FBI and the Justice Department. And WikiLeaks has continued to post embarrassing emails from the account of John Podesta, Clinton's campaign chairman. Considering the tenor of campaign 2016, one could conjure up many post-election combinations that could keep us in suspense. Will the loser blame fraud or Russia? Today, we'll leave the predictions up to others. We begin by investigating the big money behind the campaigns to find out who's pulling strings behind the scenes in U.S. presidential campaign politics.
Clinton is winning support from some of the country's wealthiest, despite her position on taxes.
Clinton bragged about her great relationship with the financial industry. That's where she gets all the money.
It's pretty much the Wild West out there when it comes to the outside spending.
Vivica Novak tracks political money for the Center for Responsive Politics. She's taking us through the murky world of outside spending by dark money groups and super PACs that often shield donors' identities.
If you're an average citizen, there's a couple of different ways to give money to politics. One is to give directly to candidates, but that money is very limited. There are caps on what you can give. There's also what we call outside spending groups. This is where you've heard the term super PAC. And these groups can spend any amount of money. They can take in any amount of money. People can give millions of dollars, individuals can, to a super PAC.
How can we trust the Clintons to fight for us?
That's the money that fuels negative ads, organized smears, opposition research, news media outreach, and social media attacks.
So when I see the hate that Donald Trump has brought to his campaign for president, it terrifies me.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
In Florida, they say she's going to put ads on 50-1. And I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win.
There's a super PAC called Priorities USA Action that is the super PAC backing Hillary Clinton. Not that other super PACs aren't helping as well, but this one is totally devoted to getting her elected. Priorities USA Action has raised a lot of money.
Beautiful.
Donald Trump has a couple of super PACs that are backing him. One problem has been that it's never been clear which one is the favored super PAC. So donors kind of don't know who to give to.
The largest pro-Clinton super PAC has raised nearly $176 million, compared to the largest pro-Trump super PAC, which has raised about $16 million.
When we look at outside spending, where is his support coming from? Who is giving to his outside spending groups?
So Trump's outside spending donors look a lot like his campaign donors. Retired people, real estate, miscellaneous business.
But Wall Street firms clearly favor Clinton, giving her 100 times as much outside money, more than $78 million, compared to Trump's less than $1 million.
So Wall Street really comes out on top. Besides Wall Street, you have entertainment, people from Hollywood, and you also have lawyers again.
So who are the personalities with the deepest pockets? Hedge fund billionaires.
For Clinton, when you factor in the super PAC again, her top donors have been Donald Sussman, who is a financier, James Simons, who is with a hedge fund, and George Soros, who everyone has heard of.
The last time we looked at the numbers, there were no hedge fund billionaires supporting Donald Trump.
Right.
Now that he is the last man standing in the Republican Party, that's changed.
Right. A lot of the hedge fund billionaires have not come aboard with Trump, but Robert Mercer is one who did.
And he used to support Cruz.
He supported Ted Cruz until he decided to come over to Trump. Donald Trump's biggest donors have been Robert Mercer, who is actually with the same hedge fund that James Simons is with, the Democrat. Jeff Palmer is a real estate developer in California, who many people haven't heard of.
Add it all up, and Clinton has far and away more big donor support. $20 million from Paloma Partners Hedge Fund, $14 million from Renaissance Technologies' Jim Simons, more than $12 million from hedge fund giant the Pritzker Group, and over $10 million each from hedge funds, Soros Fund Management, and Saban Capital. 20 donors have given Clinton more than $2 million each. Trump has only 3 donors in that category. $15.5 million from Renaissance Technologies' Robert Mercer, about $2 million from real estate firm G.H. Palmer & Associates, and $2 million from the Marcus Foundation, a charity started by Home Depot's co-founder.
One reason Trump's numbers aren't bigger is because some conservative billionaires are sitting on the sidelines this year.
If some big Republican donors are not contributing to the candidate this year, to Donald Trump, are they going anywhere, or are they just saving their money?
I think they're just saving their money. Some of them have outright said that they're just not going to play very much this year. The Koch brothers and their whole network, for instance, is really staying out of the presidential race. David and Charles Koch are industrialists from the Midwest. They're billionaires. They have been active in Republican politics for a very long time. And they tend to be more mainstream Republican than pro-Trump, for instance, who is very much not mainstream Republican.
So they're not helping him out?
They're not helping him out.
On the other hand, retirees are helping out both campaigns in a major way. They've given Clinton more than $60 million and are Trump's top donor group at about $19.5 million.
After retired people for Clinton, she relies on lawyers, people from the education field, people who work for universities who tend to generally be Democratic, true to stereotype. For Donald Trump's campaign, he relies more on businesses that we call miscellaneous business, the chemical industry, restaurants, odds and ends that don't fit into any other category. And then real estate is number 3.
But Trump's biggest donor by far is Trump.
So why aren't you putting money into your own campaign? I'm just curious.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to get on to one more question.
So far, Trump has put more than $66 million of his own money into his campaign.
I'm putting up $100 million. It's going to end up being more than that.
If Donald Trump is raising less than other Republican candidates, but he's, at this point anyway, fairly neck and neck with the Democrat candidate, what does that tell us?
It tells us that he's gotten a lot of free publicity, among other things.
Mr. Trump, good to see you.
And he has said that he doesn't need as much money because he doesn't need to buy as much television. People, you know, the media just covers Trump so much that he's everywhere you look. And there's some truth to that. He may not need as much money.
The grand totals reported to date look like this. Clinton supporters have given more than twice as much money overall, $687 million, to Trump's $306 million. And both candidates can brag of getting a lot of that money from the coveted small donor.
I'm very proud of the fact that we have more than 750,000 donors, and the vast majority of them are giving small contributions.
She has raised about 19% of her funds from small donors, a greater amount of money, but a smaller share of her funds than Donald Trump. His share of small donors funding is about 43%, which is pretty good.
I'm also getting tremendous amounts of money from people, like $61 a piece, a record set. No Republican's ever done that. No Republican.
How do the small donors that Donald Trump has compare to other candidates that you've seen in the past, whether it's Bernie Sanders or previous campaigns?
Bernie Sanders got a lot of funding from small donors. His number was higher than Trump's. Obama was always very successful with small donors. So this isn't unprecedented. It just shows that, in part, some of the larger donors may be staying away from this candidate. But it's also, you know, he's hitting a chord with some real folks out there.
How much of the candidate's spending to get elected overall? As calculated by the Center for Responsive Politics, the campaigns together were closing in on $2 billion on October 31st. That's significantly more than what Obama and Romney spent by the same time in 2012, about $1.7 billion.